Welcome to the Crowned Medium, where Her Highness Lorenda Carr delivers intuitive clarity, messages from Spirit, and tools to elevate your spiritual journey.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Lexy, good morning.
Good morning, Lorenda.
How are you?
I am wonderful.
Good. Well, today we have my amazing guest, Lexy Hovis. So I'm trying to get my screens. I'm like, I can't see everything. It's old people problems, I'm telling you. So welcome to the Crown Medium. We literally just threw this together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because normally I've got like a couple weeks out lead time, and I just text you on Monday. I'm like, so do you want to do this?
Yeah,
like,
all the best things are just thrown together, so it'll be fine.
Yeah, so this is going to be great. So for those of you, hello on TikTok, all two of you. I am on the other platforms with my guest, Lexy Hovis, Reverend Lexy Hovis. That's such an accomplishment. I can't wait to delve into that and talk more about it. So Lexy, you got a podcast, you are a reverend, you do astrology, you do you do so many things.
I do a lot of things, and it's because I'm interested in everything, literally anything and everything. I'm so interested in it, and I have a bad problem of signing up for stuff and I have to know about it, and I have to stop myself now because I don't have all the time in the world anymore. You know, I got a 2-year-old that takes up the majority of it, and so I'm like, oh, I can't sign up and learn that thing. I have to talk myself off the ledge of doing it, but I want to know everything, and so I have went through I don't even know how many programs now because I like it all. I like everything, and I want to know it all.
So what you're saying is you're a chronic learner, which is not a good thing.
I call myself a lifelong learner. It's never gonna stop. Yeah.
Don't you feel like, especially when you delve into spiritual work, don't you find that a really good spiritual practitioner continues to be a good learner? Like that we are always learning, because every time we think we know something, Spirit says, but what about this? And you're like, oh, but what about that? And then you realize suddenly you knew nothing.
Yeah. I say that constantly, especially I love astrology, but someone will ask me randomly, how good are you? And I'm like, every day there's something, and it's like I'll look at something differently, or I'll read something and it's like I know nothing. I say that all the time. I'm like, apparently I know nothing, because I hadn't even put that thought together. And it's like that with everything. I find something new almost every single day, and it's like, wow, I want to learn that. And I think that's part of being a spiritual person, or being a good spiritual person, is that we continue to evolve and learn and grow.
Well, yeah, and just building our database, just everything. And I'm telling you, it's the same way in dance, because with teaching dance, I will always continue to try to learn, even in my 50s. Like when I'm not professionally performing anymore, I'm still trying to learn and understand and grow. And I there's a lot of parallels in my world with dance and spirituality, but it is always nice to meet people, because especially you're also on TikTok, but you see there are a lot of very interesting characters on TikTok that just know what they know, that they know, that they know. And all we can do is sit back and go, oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
A lot of egos in this business.
Oh yeah. It took me a long time for being, I still consider myself pretty young. I'm not big into social media. That's been my goal this year. I literally just started a TikTok this year because it was people would send me stuff on there, and as soon as I would watch their stuff, something would pop up, and I was like, oh, I don't like this. I don't like how this person is portraying something or whatever it is. And so I would shut it down. And I finally was like, you know what, I'm gonna that's part of building a business, building a brand or whatever it is. Like, you have to get good at social media. And so it's very slow. It's very slow for me because I only have a few seconds every day to kind of work on it. But it's wild what people say or what people put out there. And I'm like, I'll like watch something and I'm like, how can you say that? Like,
Right. Well, and then there becomes a responsibility when you do build that platform, when you do build your brand, then you have to be very careful about how you say things, and you can't always say what you think, which is really hard for a big Leo. I'm just saying. Sometimes things fall out of my face, and I'm like,
yeah. My thing is always saying, like, especially like on my podcast, I'll say, you know, I want you to go out and look at these things and study them for yourself. Don't just take my word for it. Like, this is from my perspective, or whatever it is. When I was if I help someone you know, getting in touch with their guides or whatever, I'll say, you know, this is what I'm getting, but I want you to sit with this and think about it. And it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what I'm getting, you know, from spirit. They're your people. You figure, like,
right.
It's on you.
Exactly. So tell me a little bit. I want to, for those of you who don't know, hi everybody on TikTok. You can find us. There's the little thing over here. It tells you where you can find us right now if you want to go check it out. All the names are the same on the other platforms. But I am with Reverend Lexy Hovis. Hey, Mark, how are you? Good to see you. And what I guess I want to hear, let's kind of take it back to the very beginning, since people don't, maybe like people in my world don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Tell the fans
my origin story.
Your origin story.
Okay. So I grew up in Southern Indiana. I grew up in a very small, very conservative kind of Christian area.
So
Indiana. So all of Indiana. I live way out in the country where there's basically just kind of one thing. Ironically, my family is responsible for bringing the Pentecostal religion to Bloomington. So I grew up in a very interesting way because part of my family is like Pentecost or like hardcore Christian, Branhamite, all of the things. But a very big chunk of myself is also Indigenous Native American. And so I grew up with this really interesting balance of living at home, being taught about nature, about plants, about animals, about how to honor that, how to honor the seasons, the cycles, how to plant by them, how to plant by the moon, how to literally talk to nature and talk to animals. But then we were also going to church on Wednesdays and Fridays and sometimes Saturdays and all day Sunday. And I would have to sit and like hear about this is the one way and like everyone else is wrong and we need to bring people to this way. And it was such a weird contrast, but I think that's why I am the way I am, because I am still very down to my Native American roots and traditions. But I also like a good structure system of a religion or of a church. And I think that's kind of why I clung to spiritualism so much. So I grew up in that way. I grew up talking to spirits and knowing that was okay. And my grandma picked the house that we lived in because I grew up living with my mom and my grandma. And basically our whole family was kind of one area, but she picked the house we lived in because there was fairies in the backyard. And she'll tell me that she was like, there was a pick between two houses and I picked that one because I saw fairies in the backyard and I know that's where we were supposed to live. So yeah, I mean, I grew up like making things for fairies, making little areas for them, leaving offerings out. And so like I grew up I grew up in such an amazing way with such open like family members. And then fast forward a little bit, a couple different camp people actually would come down to Bloomington and do like group readings. And one was Reverend Suzanne Greer. And ironically, both of my grandmothers, my mom's mom and my dad's mom, both saw her at different events and contacted my mom and said, "Hey, you need to take Lexy to this place." Yeah, they were like I grew up with like our family's traditions, but I didn't have like a big community saying like, this is what she is, or this is what she's doing. And so my mom was always kind of looking for those things. Like we still went to like the big family church, but she was also really good about nurturing that part of myself and not telling me it was wrong or not telling me I can't do that. And so through Reverend Suzanne Greer, my mom found Camp Chesterfield. And for my 15th birthday, it was my gift to go up there and get a reading. And then so I can't remember. I think my 15-year-old birthday we got one from Suzanne. And then I think at 16, it was Winstrogi. I can't remember which one was which first. I would have to look back I have all the notes from those readings still. But going up there, it completely changed my life. I met all these people and they immediately told me, they're like, you're supposed to be up here. You're supposed to be you're doing basically what we're doing with just like, teaching. And I met so many influential people that would become kind of my teachers and my mentors later on. For camp, you have to wait until you're 18. And so I had to wait. But every year for my birthday, it was my present to go up there and get a reading from one of the mediums. And so that's kind of the origin of how I came to be who I am, I guess.
I love it. What a great story. My family was open to stuff like that. They weren't any kind of, no, it's this way, or it's this way, or it's this way. But had no connection or had no idea where to go or what to do. And so that's so cool that you have such an open, involved family that way, even coming from where we come from.
Yeah.
Because that is wild. Like I remember thinking, okay, if I want to be rich, do I have to go to church? Because it seems like the only people that are rich are people who go to church.
Right.
Like, because that's what we were surrounded with. Like that's the only thing that we had to go by.
Yeah.
Funny you bring up the Southern Indiana Pentecostal. You are the same exact age as my daughter, my oldest daughter. And she was in kindergarten in Bloomington, first and second grade in Bloomington at a Pentecostal church out in the woods, out in the middle of nowhere on the south side of Bloomington.
Interesting.
So, and there weren't that many places. The school itself was not that old, and I can't remember the name of it, but that's wild. You start talking about it and I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's in the woods. Like we drove a good 10 minutes and we lived on the south side of Bloomington, right behind Bloomington South High School. So we had to drive further, like 10 minutes or so to get to her school. So that was a lot. That's wild.
Yeah, that's interesting. Is she the same daughter you said went to IU?
Well, I have two daughters that went to IU, but yes, she did go to IU. And she was only down at IU Bloomington for a year. She finished up at IUPUI.
Oh, okay. I was going to say we would have been there the same year or the same time too. Interesting.
Right. So how cool is that? But what a interesting. Yeah. And it was like a one-room classroom kind of situation, or they had like 3 grades in a class. Mm-hmm. And so my daughter was learning 3rd grade math in like 1st grade.
Yeah.
Because she was just exposed to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was wild. It felt like Little House on the Prairie, but I could afford it. And that's what it came down to.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yep.
So, all right, I love, and I know you through Camp Chesterfield, but on the fringes, like you and I really not had.
We haven't crossed paths too much because you started coming right at the time that I had my daughter. And so I really had to pull back from attending events. Right. Because everyone in my family still works, even on weekends. I've never been able to really attend the psychic fairs because I worked up until I had my daughter. I worked every single Saturday. And so I had to take off work to go attend events at camp. And I did, even through college, I would take off a whole week and I would say, hey, this is for religious purposes. Like I'm going to seminary. And so, yeah, it wasn't, I feel like you started really coming about the time that I I didn't pull back. I just started having to focus on kind of just teaching. I didn't get to attend many things as like a participant.
Or if I was there, it was on the weekends.
Yeah.
Because I started doing like Spirit Fest probably 5 years ago. So yeah. But it's interesting because I actually know your husband because we would do trance class together.
Yeah. And
so I've known him longer than you, I guess. Even though you're there, but
yeah, which is funny because I attended the same trance class just at different times than him.
So weird.
A lot of time. Yeah.
So weird, but I love it. You know, it's 1 degree of separation, you know, kind of situation.
Yeah.
So what would you say was the first, I hate to call them this, like not gift, but ability. What would you say was the first thing that really stood out for you as a gift or an ability for you? Oh, she's got something.
It's hard to say. A couple different things. Probably just an empathetic ability to feel what people around me were feeling, or even people I was connected to, because I remember being pretty young and I would start crying and I would tell my mom, like, somebody was sad. Like, someone we were really connected to, I'd be like, you need to call this person, like, something's wrong, someone's really upset. And she would call them and then find out, like, yeah, something had happened or whatever. And I would say that I talked to, like, got my guides and stuff, but that, and then really feeling the residual energy of, like, spaces, because I remember being at my family had a big thing of going, like, summer vacations. We would go to, like, Gettysburg or, like, battlefields, and I remember taking a small empathetic child there, and I'm like hysterically bawling. And I'm gonna call him my biological father, because I grew up, like I said, my family's very close together, and I really grew up with my mom's brother being like the dad in my life. But my biological father, he was still, you know, kind of in the picture then when I was younger, and he was the one that wanted to go to these places. And he would be like, "Why is she acting like that? You need to tell her to straighten up." And I'm like sobbing into my mom's like dress because I'm like, "Why would you take me here? Like there's so much pain, there's so much sadness," and I could like see like kind of some of the residual energy or the residual kind of spirits being there, and I'm like, this is terrible. And it was really kind of then that my mom started to figure out, like, we need to figure out a way to like help her, because that was really hard for me. I still don't like to really go into crowded places. I was still really working to figure it out when I was in college. I remember having to go out like with friends, try to go to bars. And I remember thinking, like, bars are one of the saddest places ever. Like, people are there trying to, they're trying to drown their pain or drown their sorrow. And I would be the one sobbing in the corner, and they'd be like, "She's drunk." And I'm like, "I haven't drank anything. This place is just so sad." And my roommates learned very quickly, like, you can't take me to those places yet. So it really motivated me to work on how to figure to shut that gift off.
Right.
I was very thankful for that gift, but it made it very hard to do things in college.
I bet.
Because everyone was trying to figure out something, and I was just kind of tapping into all of it.
Wow. Yeah, I was an empathetic kid also, but everybody just thought I was dramatic. Like, you know, because I'm a Leo, so I'm a dramatic, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm a Pisces, so I just cried all the time, apparently.
Yeah. No, I would always get, because again, as Gen Xers, like, you couldn't tell your mom what she was thinking. That never ended well. So I was a suppressed empathy, or an empathetic person, because I couldn't express what I knew what other people were thinking. Like, I knew what they were feeling, and nobody wanted to be told what they were feeling, especially if they were putting up the mask. So I just didn't know I thought everybody could do it. That everybody knew what everybody was feeling.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, with my family being Native American, I grew up with them telling me, like, just people that were not really people that were Native American had that gift, but like that's why we had that gift. I remember my uncle saying, babe, it's because of our blood. This is why, we can do this. We can feel what people around us are feeling, or like all of these things. And he would say it was because of our blood. And so like, unless I met another indigenous person, like I didn't, until I went to camp and realized that like everyone has these kind of abilities. A lot of times they're just suppressed. I didn't think about everyone else being able to do it. I thought I was the weird one.
So what are your thoughts on that a little bit? Let's speak to that a little bit about, because I am fascinated with DNA and genetics, spiritual DNA versus physical DNA, because I do a lot of dimensional work, and I do like a lot of past life regression work and stuff like that. So I'm very fascinated. Also, my dog has things to say, apparently.
They usually do. It's okay.
She's losing her mind right now. It's a nice day outside here in Indiana, which means dogs are out and people are out, and my dog's going to be barking the entire time.
That's okay.
Is it though?
I have 3 miniature dachshunds, and I'm surprised they're not yapping. They must be outside.
Yeah. So anyway, so what are your thoughts on that? Because as I further get into this, I understand everybody has these abilities, and I love it when other practitioners say that out loud. Everybody has this. It's a matter of what you do with it, what exposure, who you have helping you bring them out. And also, I truly believe it has to do with your life purpose, what you came into this existence to do. But what are your thoughts on the Native Americans, like having, like just being more susceptible to seeing or feeling or knowing things? Just what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I look at it as the reason I kind of was the way I was because of my family being that Native American part. Like they were automatically aware of it, and so when it started happening, it wasn't bad in their eyes. And so I think it's just something that's kind of even if you don't know that you have indigenous blood, like it's just something passed down in our DNA that almost makes you like more aware. But I do believe that it definitely depends on what you came into this life to do, what your purposes was, if you even needed to be aware of it or not. I absolutely feel like that was a huge reason I came into this life. And I like doing readings and mediumship. I wouldn't say I don't like them, but I don't feel like that was my purpose in life. It was more to show people that it's possible, but show people it's possible for them to do it. And that like I believe that everyone has these abilities. It's just reprogramming the brain. I think most of like to be good at it, I think most of it is believing that you can be good at it.
I'm so with you on this. I'm so with you on this, because
that's my biggest part.
You see a lot of people, especially like on TikTok or on social media in general, and people that have a platform that will say, "Oh, no, not everybody can do this." It's not true. Right, big X. No, thank you. And scrolling on, but I truly believe anybody can. It's just a matter. I do say a lot of times, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it does take, some people are just naturally kind of born with it, or born into families like mine who tell you that like it's okay, or that it's natural. A lot of people don't have that, and they automatically kind of get it suppressed, and then they have to work through those kind of blocks that have been put on them, or their mind starts putting on them because their parents told them that it wasn't real, or whatever it is.
Right.
They have to kind of break that down.
Here in Indiana, it's demons.
It's demons. Yeah, it's demon. Oh, you can't imagine how many prayer chains I've been a part of because of talking to demons, or that I'm witches trying to warp the mind of people around me with my magical powers or whatever. And
don't you wish you could do that?
Oh my gosh, no! I was most of the time I'm like, I just want to be left alone. Like just.
There are some people that you just want to be able to, like, I don't know, conjure up in your hand and be like, stop talking right now.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to do that. If I had that much power, my life would look very different. Believe me.
Right.
Believe me, it'd be very different.
Mm-hmm.
So let's kind of circle back to, especially now that you're a mama. And by the way, she's adorable. I love watching her just bounce around all the time.
She's crazy.
But she's a very free spirit, and you can tell she's
Mhm.
allowed to be who she is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I love. I love seeing that and observing that from a distance. So now, do you find that you have people come to you and say, hey, my kid sees things or knows things? And are you more open to working with children or working with developing kiddos instead of saying, well, not till they're 18, or like how I'm kind of weird. Yeah, I know I'm not going to just let some 10-year-old come be like, I want a reading. Okay, where's your mom?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where's your mom? But
it's very much so it's like as soon as I became a mom, I had people contacting me about having spiritually gifted kids, and they just wanted to talk to me on how to raise them. Which was wild to me, because I'm like, I mean, she's fresh, like she's brand new. I can't really say I know anything about raising her yet, but like I'll tell you kind of my thought process going forward with it. I would tell them that, because I'm not going to say I don't like children, but like I was very much like, I had to sit down and really think about like if I wanted to be a mom in this life, because it wasn't something that like I didn't come into this life thinking, oh, that's the one thing I want to be or whatever. Like
right.
I've never been around children and been like, oh, I just love them so much. Or like someone would hand me a baby and I could hold it. But it's like, people like talk about like their ovaries bursting or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I never felt that. Like, it's cute. Like I like tiny things, but I've never felt that. But me and Brandon really, and I'm so grateful to have a spiritual partner, which I can get in the story of how I met him another time, or in a second, whatever.
We got time.
Yeah. But I sat down with him and I said, you know what? Like, I don't know about this whole thing, but we can make somebody some really cool parents. They could come in being whoever they wanted to be. They could come in believing whatever they want, and like, we're going to support them. And and what I believe about reincarnation and about souls and spirits and all that, I said, you know what? I think, like, as much as I don't know, I really want to have childbirth, but like, I think we should do this. I think we should try, because like, we could be really good for someone's soul and evolution. Like, I looked at it that way, and I remember explaining that to someone, and they're like, I never even thought about that. And I'm like, really? Because I had to like make myself want to have a kid,
Right.
Because it's a lot of work. It's so, and I love her, and she's great, and I love seeing the world through her eyes, and she's so smart. But I had to really think about it, and I'm not, I don't think I would just immediately let a kid like, yeah, just come to readings and start taking classes. Like I would have to sit down with their parents, and I would probably say, I want your parents to be there, because I want them to learn this too, because for you to grow up and for you to kind of like, they need to help you. They need to help you like my parents did. They need to help you kind of either support you or help you figure it out, whatever it is. But I'm not above letting like a kid sit in, like if I'm having a class on whatever it is, like I'm perfectly content with them being there, as long as either their parents are or their parents don't care, because they need to know it too.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't even, my kids all would talk about how they would see things, and like they would just interact with, I remember my daughter, who's the one that's your age, would just start laughing and carrying on in the car, back in her car seat. I'm like, what are you laughing at, Jessica? And she'd be like, oh, that angel. It's flying. And then she'd like look at the other side. She'd laugh because it was bouncing back and forth. And I'm like, well, tell me what she looks like, because I'm driving and I can't look.
Yeah.
I didn't want her to know that I couldn't see the angel too, or and I was like, tell the angel to fly up front so I can see it. I now realize that little, what she was seeing, in my opinion, is what we would call a joy guide.
Joy guide. Mm-hmm.
And it was just playing around with her. But at that time I didn't No, I just knew. I knew that it was one of her spirit people. It was like her things. But and so we never. When my son would be like, "Did you see that guy just walk through the living room just now?" I'd be like, "I didn't, but tell me what he looks like." You know, I wasn't paying attention. It was just no big deal. My daughter one time came out of the bathroom. She was probably 3. She comes out of the bathroom and she just puts one hand on her hip. She goes, "There are no such thing as ghosts." And I go, and then she arms out and I go, "There might be." There might be. Yeah. And she's like, "No." So I don't know what she saw in the bathroom because it was unprompted, but she declared it.
That's funny. Well, the flying thing, the thing that you mentioned, like that your daughter was saying, it's interesting. I've always been real open to the Fae realm because of the way I grew up. But they are amazing, like crazy drawn to children. And so that could have been it as well. Because I've always seen them, and I've always created, like I have a bunch of land and big gardens and stuff, and I've always put stuff out for them. But when my daughter was born, they just kind of like swarmed. And when she's outside playing, I see them around her constantly. I see them playing with her constantly, and I'm like, oh. I remember asking, because I have a guy that's a fairy, and they say that I heard her say, we're drawn to the innocence. They don't have any kind of other perceptions of us. They just let us be simply who we are. And I'm like, oh, I love that. And so now when I watch children out, like at stores and stuff, and I see them like, oh, playing with something or whatever, a lot of times I'm like, oh, I bet they're playing with a fairy. Like, I think that.
Yeah. It's so funny now that I'm in this position. I feel like the same thing. When you see that little kid off in their little zone, you're like, I wonder who they see and who they're. And I mean, I had a very, very active imagination as a kid, and it makes me look back and go, oh, wait. How much of that? I think now that I know more, I realize I had a lot more as a kid that I never realized.
Yeah.
Now, do you? I've told this story a ton of times, and it was actually Michelle Euler who set me on my path to understanding exactly what I was doing. But do you actually see? Because I remember saying out loud to Michelle, like, I'm not a medium. I've been tarot cards for 10 years. I've been taking, doing stuff with that, and I could do readings with tarot cards. And I always knew there was a grandmother in, but I was like, I'm not a medium. I just do psychic work. Plus, John Edwards said not everybody can be a medium. So I'm clearly not a medium because I don't see dead people. And she's like, what do you think mediums do? Like, I never, ever forget the day she said that to me. And so let me ask you this. Do you actually see entities like with your own eyes, or is it more of that clairvoyant, like the knowing?
Yeah, I use a little bit of all the clairs. I find that it's different in almost every situation. I have like physically with my eyes seen spirit. It's not all the time, but I think I like to think that spirit almost switches it on when I really need it for something. The knowing is almost all of the time. Like, that's where most of it comes in, because I got into mediumship for me. I wanted to really connect with my guides. I wanted to show people it was possible, but it wasn't doing like, I know people who really love doing readings for people, but that was never what it was about for me. It was just getting to like know my spirit people on kind of a deeper level. And so the knowing always happens. I hear with my physical ears. I hear quite a bit. The smell, the taste, the touch or whatever, it all comes in different times.
Right.
I usually just have, like, I tell spirit to like give me a little nudge, or like if I see something, I'll be like, like spirit am I seeing, like, is that real, like is that really happening or whatever,
Right.
and I'll hear one of my guides laugh and be like, yeah, it is, like, yes it is, or whatever it is. So yeah, it doesn't, it's not all the time. I think they know I would become very overwhelmed if it happened all of the time, but it shows up when it needs to.
Yeah.
And I've just kind of accepted that, like, they're gonna bring the information to me however I need to have it.
Do you feel like learning, like meeting your guides? At what point? Well, let me ask you this. At what point in your life, like about how old were you when you started meeting your spirit guides and understanding their role in your life?
Ironically enough, I met my mom's guides before my own. Um, the very first spirit I remember meeting is who I know now is one of my mom's joy guides, because she has two different ones, and he was the very first spirit I played with. I gave him a completely random name because I met him at the play. We lived right by my elementary school, and I met him on the playground, and I named him Merry-Go-Round. And I remember telling him what he, like, exactly what he looked like, and he stayed with me for several years. And it wasn't until we came to camp, and because my mom took classes as well. My mom has kind of went through all the things. She did it with me. It was like our mother-daughter kind of thing together.
Mhm.
But she started learning about her guides, and I realized who he was. It's like he showed back up, and I was like, I haven't seen you in a while, and I realized who it was. And so I got to know her guides before mine. Mine started showing up probably about the time, like, I guess I'll say I became aware of, like, exactly who my people were
Right.
about the time I started getting readings at camp, because
Okay.
every once in a while they would come in like a reading, and I would start to, I started to pay more attention to them, and started, like, giving them names and, like, what they look like, wanting to know them on more of a personal basis. Um, and then I've taken, all of the classes through camp. I've sat through just about every single person's development class, and it took me quite a while, because a lot of mine are Native American, and I have more than the additional structure that camp gives of your core group. And so I had to really break outside of the box or the mold of what they said. They are still structure, which I understand the reason that they have the structure for, like, this is the way guides work.
Right.
And it's to help people figure it out. But it took me many years to break outside of that mold, because I kept trying to, I'll say, like, shove my guides into the jobs that they, like, camp said that they were supposed to do.
Right. Right.
And it took me many years. I'm like, no, this is what my teachers are saying. This is what camp says. And I finally, like, sat down and I stopped. I said, okay, I'm going to stop trying to put you where I think you're supposed to go. Show me where you're supposed to go. Show me what job you're supposed to do. And
Mhm.
then I realized that I had, so camp says you have the 5 core, right? I
Right.
have, I have 7. I have an additional protector, and I have a gatekeeper instead of a joy guide. I have a joy guide, but I have a gatekeeper, and that's who I'm supposed to work with for my mediumship work.
Yep. Right.
And platform, I have, and I'm going to say it's probably from a past life. I haven't quite figured it out yet what it is, but I have always had a hardcore phobia of public speaking. Um, Literally, high school, I got the worst test score, or I got the worst scores ever every time I had to do a speech, because I would speed through it. It would be like 2 minutes instead of the 8 minutes it was supposed to be, or whatever. And college was a nightmare because there was, thousands of people in a class at IU, and I was supposed to give a speech, and I learned, I wear glasses, and I learned to take my glasses off, and I would hold my note cards, and I would just read my note cards, and I wouldn't see the people.
Smart.
Yeah, and that's how I started. Mediumship development class was a nightmare for me because I do not like to stand in front of people and talk. I cried through almost all, like, the first few classes. I mean, there was a lot, and a lot of them, like, my very first development teacher was Julie Theoresi. she would stand behind me and she'd rub my back and she'd have a tissue ready. And I would just like fumble my way through it because I would like tell the person what I was seeing and hearing, but I would be sobbing the whole time. And it took me forever. And the first time I got on platform, I sobbed. But a big chunk of it was realizing that like the person who I was working with as my gatekeeper, my joy guide, who I was always told, this is the person you work for with mediumship. I sat down and realized she was just as nervous as I was, and that wasn't her purpose in my life. She is my joy guide. She is my companion. She has always been there, but I have a separate person who is a gatekeeper, and she is very no nonsense, and she is about getting it done. And I realized once I tapped into like started working with her with it, it became so much smoother. I stopped crying. I stopped crying and I could stand up there and actually do it. I was still like a wreck, but I didn't run out of the building.
I required therapy afterwards, but I was fine in the moment.
Yeah. It was a lot, which it's ironic because I was a dancer as well, and I danced at a team at IU, and I could dance in front of thousands of people, and it was no big deal. Yeah, and it's different. It's not. And someone said that to me. They're like, well, you danced in front of a bunch of people. What's the difference? I said, okay, let me go up there and interpretive dance this message for you real quick, and like I'll be fine. But as soon as words have to come out of my mouth, I'm gonna start crying, and I can't even tell you why.
Okay, but also let's envision it. You and I doing interpretive dance messages on the platform together instead of speaking.
Yeah, me and Laura Dinkeldine used to talk about it. I said, you tap out like, I don't even know, like the Morse code or something. I said, we'll just interpretive dance these messages. It'll be great. And she's like, do you think anyone else will figure it out? I said, probably not.
You know what? The right person will.
Yeah.
I love Laura. Oh my God. I miss tap dancing with her so much. I really miss dancing with her.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll just send her a funny thing and be like, I miss tapping with you. I love her. And what a weird, and also interesting, because like, what a strange way for me to get into camp. It was not because of doing this, but because of tap dance.
Of dance. Yeah.
Of dance. And then now that I'm all full neck deep into this, my tap company no longer exists. It was like, that was strangely enough, that was part of the purpose of me getting into doing this work. Such a fascinating path, to be honest. I had another question and I've completely lost it. Okay, interpretive dance, speaking. So, I have found, and I teach this to my people, because I do have people like in my development classes that they're not associated with camp. They don't understand spirit guides. So I always do explain spirit guides. I'm like, I'm going to give you the roles that I was taught, that this is what they fulfill, but don't put them in boxes.
Yeah.
And I find that people who need the structure and organization, that's what I needed. My ADHD brain needed structure and to be able to understand how spirits come in. But then once I found that, like once I got to know them, and they're like, all right, do you get it now? All right, can we can we level up a bit? Can we move on from this particular structure? I found that it's funny because even like a protector guide will come in and have an intricate part in a reading, or bring forward messages or bring forward people. Healing, like it's doing multidimensional work. Sometimes I'm like, oh, hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like, all right. Or power band guides, So I'm fascinated with spirit guides and spirit team. And one of the things that I always ask, or in the meditation, as we're all in class, like getting all set up, I'll say, connect mental mind to mental mind. Ask your guide what you're learning from them today and what they are learning from you. Because I believe that they are assigned to us because they are also learning.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. It's kind of, since you've studied past life stuff, it's like that bus stop analogy when you're getting ready to, I don't know if you've heard of the bus stop analogy, where like you're all sitting at the bus stop, getting ready to kind of reincarnate, and you're sitting with a group of people. It's like your soul people, and you're like, okay, I really want to work on forgiveness in this lifetime. That's my big lesson. I want to learn on how to forgive people. And someone steps up and says, I really want to work on self-forgiveness. Like I want to learn how to forgive myself. And so you make a pact, and it's a I hate it and I understand it at the same time, but maybe that person in life, the way it plays out is that person is the one who is in an accident and like kills someone in your family. And
Right.
so they have to work on the self-forgiveness that they have done that. And then you have to work on forgiving that person because of what they done to you. And so I look at guides a lot of the same way. Through my understanding and through like talking with my guides, I know them from past lives. And they're kind of my they're part of my like soul group, and we kind of interchange out lifetimes on who's a guide, who's going through the life, all of those things. And so they are evolving as well. They're just evolving on, the other side. And as they help us figure out stuff, they are learning it as well. And so with my lifelong learning thing, I'm like, well, I'm helping all my people kind of evolve here as well. All all the things we're learning together.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you because and that was one of those things that it didn't even occur to me to ask until I was teaching a class. We were grounding, we were connecting up, calling in our guides, and out of my mouth, because a lot of times Dr. Mike, my teacher, just says, okay, you're not saying the right things. And because I am a trance medium, he'll just step in and he'll start teaching the class.
Right.
And he had actually at one point it said, and what are you learning from them? And what are we learning from you? And I was like, oh, genius. He's like, I know.
Mm-hmm.
I have such a smart aleck. And yeah, I know that shocks you about me.
No,
But
no.
yeah. You know what's funny? My Lily, my joy guide,
Mm-hmm.
is so calm and so beautiful and so serene, and she's so peaceful. And all these people have all these joy guides like, da, 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 da. And I'm like, how come you're not like that?
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, because I would drive you nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, that's fair. She's like, you
Yeah.
got it going on. You don't need any more chaos in your life. You teach children. You don't need any more chaos.
Right.
She's like,
Yeah.
But I knew them in past lives as well. They have shown me there. And what's interesting is I always thought growing up, okay, I believe we have a spirit guide, that one magical being was with us and orchestrating our life. That's what I grew up believing.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild to look at how we can really utilize them. And I do try to teach people, because I'm sure you get people too to come to you that aren't necessarily trying to be professional mediums. They're not trying to be professional astrologers or whatever. They're not trying to do that. Metaphysicians, that's the word I was looking for. That they're just trying to live their best life, and how do they incorporate their team? So, I find that just getting to know their spirit guides as a step one for me as a teacher. That's what I try to get them to do. Because I know you get people like that too. So where do you usually, how do you start a conversation with them?
Yeah. My usually go-to is, what do you think about energy?
Ooh, good one.
That's where I start.
So true.
Because it's probably my metaphysical background. Because to me, metaphysics, I mean, mediumship falls under metaphysics. Healing falls under metaphysics, all of it. And so I look at development in a very metaphysical way. And so before I ever even get to guides, I say, let's talk about energy. What do you think about energy? How to feel energy? Because before we can feel our guides, we need to start kind of tapping into the energy of everything around us. And so I start there. I'm really big into like natural law, and natural law comes from Hermetic philosophy. And so I really start there, and I'm like, all right, let's talk about vibration. Let's talk about all of these things. And that's how we kind of draw like how our guides came to be with us. Like they are attracted, they are of a similar vibration. And so I almost always start with energy to see where someone is at. Because I did an interview on my podcast with Reverend P.T. Wilson, and I was asking him about energy because he is a Methodist minister, and we were talking about healing, and being like with the Pentecostal background, we learned about healing like laying on of hands. But like some believed everyone could do it and some believed you couldn't, but it was like God or Jesus or whatever put the healing through you, and like it's almost like only certain people could do that, and then the healing came out of their hands. But like that's energy as well, and if you don't know how to quite tap into that or whatever. And so I was really interested. I was like, did you learn that in like Methodist seminary? Or he has a Native American background as well.
Okay.
And so I was like, did you already kind of believe in that? What is it? And so, yeah, for me, it's always energy, and then everything else kind of expands from there.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. I look at it as like, I'm like, well, energy is science.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything we're doing is just science. It's part of the world. It's natural law, like you said. It's energy, and we. So Michelle Euler and my friend Carrie and I all do a podcast called The Liminal Lounge Mediums, and we're talking about past lives. Oh, by the way, everyone, that episode comes out today. Right now, it should be live. Okay, part 2, past lives. But I had posed, Dr. Mike did, posed a question about if we're looking at natural law and energy as a thing, did we, oh shoot, now I don't remember the question. Oh, it was so not me, but it fell to my face anyway. Had to do with like your past lives, did we sit around and choose it? On the other side, because originally I was shown like it's like a classroom, you sit around, you decide with your guides, okay, I'm going to go in, I'm going to do this, you're going to have this job. Or do we just land here and that's what we're drawn to? Is there a bus stop? Is there a classroom? Is there a conversation on the other side? Do our guides, do we have a council that says, okay, you have done this, 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 and this? Or is it just natural law that says, well, your soul's going here next? Like, is it a conscious decision, or is it truly just energy pulling you where you're supposed to go next? And whose idea was this anyway? Like,
right.
Then I have to go take a nap, because then my head hurts when I think about all these things.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And like even just down to, why are we having this conversation? Was this natural law? Or is this part of a bigger purpose? Or was this some destined thing that we decided before we came in? Down to you were going to wear your hat, which is amazing, by the way.
Thank you. It was the only thing crown related that I could think of.
I love it. Listen, you got to show up with something.
Yeah, I make these hats and I look at them a lot like you do your crowns. They've kind of become my thing. So
yeah, I love it. I think that's amazing. But I love that you start there. As far as like, because then you can meet people where they are. You can meet people where they are in their own beliefs, what they already know or what they feel or what their experience is. Because if you can start there where their thoughts, you're right on energy. I hadn't even thought of that. Like, what are your thoughts on energy? I always say, why are you doing this?
Yeah. Well, that's usually my first question. What are you wanting to get out of this? What are you here to try to understand? Figure that out. And then if I'm going to start teaching them, then we start about energy, because that helps me figure out like, how hard is it going to be for them to believe that they have guides that they can talk to? Or how hard is it for me to help them believe that they are a healer and they can help move energy for people? And I'm a person, I don't believe I call myself a healer, but I don't believe I'm some mystical person that can transform like whatever. I am not a healer in like, I will fix your emphysema, or I don't know, whatever it is. That's the first thing that popped into my mind. But I am a battery, or I am a channel of energy, and I can help direct it to you, but it is your job to use that energy for your highest and best good. And so when I start with energy, when I start on the belief of like what someone believes about energy, then that helps me direct how I'm going to move forward with their understanding.
Right. Right. Something you said that that made me completely derail in my thought process.
That's
Um,
okay.
when you're talking about people who do hands-on healing and all that, I believe that the more you prepare your vessel, like if you, especially learning about physical mediumship and understanding like ectoplasm and all that, yeah, just anybody can, but you do have to have you have to be a good conduit for it. Like not everybody.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're not taking care of the vessel, you're not going to be pulling in that energy and being able to do it. So I think my next goal in life is going to be, how do I prepare my vessel to wield lightning across my neighborhood? Just for fun.
Oh yeah, I loved Storm in X-Men. Yeah, she was one of my favorite, where she could do stuff like that. And ironically, I have, not that I have powers or whatever, but every time I go somewhere new, it rains. And yeah, I mean, I don't like that it rains, but I like the idea that rain, I like what rain represents. It's, it's a new beginning. It is the biggest conductor of energy. And so the first time I went to Egypt, I stepped off the plane, it started raining. And that was like the first time it had rained there in like forever. When I moved out to Phoenix, I did my therapy internship out there. It was like the wettest summer that they had ever had. And like these things started happening, and I was like, Mom, I think I have like some type of magical rain powers. Like, and now I like to think of it as like the universe welcoming me like somewhere new. But
no, I'm Leo. You're that makes sense for you to be like attracting the rain. Where I'm like, I just need sun. Do not follow me. Keep that garbage back home. While I appreciate a good rainstorm, just not on my dime.
Yeah. It's kind of a bummer when I go on vacation, because I am very much solar powered, and I'm like, now I've started kind of talking to it. I'm like, listen, I appreciate what you're doing. I'm like, because like I said, I like to think it's like welcome me somewhere, and I'm like, listen, I love I love what you're doing. I love you're inviting me here, but I need the sunshine back now. Like, thank you so much. Please go away.
Thanks for playing, but
thank you.
Hang on here. Right. TikTok is maintenance these days. Okay. Well, after so many minutes, it makes you do a puzzle. Okay, and we're back. So all right. So let's kind of shift a little bit. I am on fire with my ADHD today. Today's going to be a very interesting day. I'm going to get either everything done or nothing done. So I know you have mentioned that like you do astrology. You like astrology. What drew you? I know when I was growing up, actually, that was like, I check my horoscope every day in the news. My best friend is a news junkie, and like we would sit and read the newspaper in the morning. And be reading the current events, and I'm like, but our horoscope. Like 11 years old, I'm looking up the horoscope to see how my day is going to go. So what drew you towards astrology, and why, and how do you feel like you incorporate that into your, not just your daily life?
It's definitely part of my daily life. I think it derived from growing up, learning how we planted by the moon, we planted by the cycles. Like, I'm a big gardener. My mom is considered a master gardener. Like, she went through this whole thing. But I mean, my garden outside my window is 50 foot by 25 foot, and that's just vegetables. So well, and like the teas I make and stuff, I grow all my own herbs and stuff. And so I think astrology comes from that, because I always remember my mom saying, oh, we got to plant, it's in this sign, we got to plant tomatoes today, or it's in this sign, we got to dig potatoes, like whatever it is. And like my grandfather didn't believe anything, and he believed in doing that. And so I think it derived from that, because I was like, well, what signs are we talking about? Like, what are we looking at to figure this out? And they're just looking in the almanac. But I remember looking at an almanac and like trying to figure it all out.
one of the commenters, Sovereign Spiritual, said, yeah, like the Farmer's Almanac.
The almanac, which they have stopped, I'm pretty sure, unless I read it wrong,
Yeah, I
they've
don't know.
stopped doing the almanac. This is going to be the last year for the Farmer's Almanac, unless someone else picks it up. But I was like devastated at that, because I was like, my gosh, like I wasn't allowed to get my hair cut unless it was on a good day where it's going to help it grow. And so I'm going to say it derived from that, because I was like, okay, a person who wants to figure it all out, wants to understand it all, what signs are we looking at to learn that like it's a good day to cut my hair, or if it's a good day to like plant a specific plant or whatever it is. And so when I realized it was moon phases, it was astrology, I was like, wait, I can kind of plan my whole life kind of around this, and it's going to help my life move with ease when I'm, doing something that kind of aligns with whatever sign we're in, instead of like completely going against things and like trying to like shove myself into it. It would be like swimming upstream, like something is going against that, but I can, if I just kind of plan out my year by that, then everything is so much easier. And I do it now.
I completely forgot that existed until you mentioned it, because when I was growing up, my mom would always talk about the Farmer's Almanac, but I feel like we would have them occasionally, and she'd be like, well, and I just thought it was so weird. I'm like, we're not farmers. Why do you care? Mm-hmm. Like, I just thought that was so weird. I'm telling you, Spirit kept me disconnected from things on purpose, because I look back now and it was in my face all the time. But I think we just didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. But yeah, the Farmer's Almanac, that's wild. So my friend Lorenda, she's commenting, she said, maybe that's a calling for you, Lexy, new spirit-led almanac.
Ironically, I am obsessed with, it's not really ironic. It's just, I'm getting to a point in my life where I finally want to like do these things. But I love stationery. I love planners.
I saw your video. You're like, okay, I have a problem.
Listen, it's an addiction.
It is. My whole, I've got this beautiful background. I'm surrounded by notebooks and journals and all the things. I get it.
Seriously, I have probably 100 of them that I will pick up places, like, look, like empty, like just 100 of them, but they're so pretty. And I'm like, I want this. I want to write good stuff in it. So yeah, I'm going to do the journaling thing, because I need to use some of these up, but I'm creating my own metaphysical planner to help people, because it just makes so much sense to me to live your life this way. And I'll tell people about it, because I buy planners all the time, and I'm like, oh, it's missing this one thing, or I'm having to write in all of the astrology and like to do things, and I'm like, oh, I just need to create my own. And so I've started working on that. I'm hoping to have it ready so people can start using it next year, but I'm going to call it my metaphysical year. And I'm hoping to have all of the astrology stuff in it, teach people how to do the numerology for their year, and how to use like even color in your life, all of the metaphysical things to help their year kind of flow with ease.
I want to take that. I want to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in your class. Carrie, I have that problem with notebooks. I have to buy them, even though I have 20 blank ones at home. I'm the same way. Well, and like even my readings, I can't just have a normal notebook. I have to have like stuff like this. Like it's got to be, for my readings, it's got to be something energetically pleasing. And
absolutely.
I used to buy planners, again, before, like back when I was in corporate world, when I worked for a clinique and I had my planners and all that, I would always buy the planners that had in the corner of each day, it had the moon phase. Mm-hmm. Or it had like a little inspirational thing on it. It's so funny looking back and how it was always there.
Yep.
And how cool would it be to have a planner like that where you can just track, journal, keep track of things as your life goes along. So then when you look back later, you can go, oh, look, it was always there.
Yep. My whole goal with it is to have a planner, and I have journal pages in it as well, and even like ritual, like for full moons, and like you want to do a full moon ritual, write your stuff down, put it all in there, and then you can put it on a shelf. And then because again, astrology stuff works in cycles, you can pull off that whole binder or whatever it is, that planner from 10 years ago, and you can look at what you were doing 10 years ago, your daily life, your dreams, all of the stuff, and it's all just right there.
Right there.
And so that's my goal.
Well, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm on your pre-sale list when you're ready for it.
Okay.
So once again, we're going to shift a little bit because
Go for it.
A lot about, well, we touched on it and then I derailed. Sorry. Past life stuff. Now I don't know this. I should have done my research, but here we are. You talk a lot about past life stuff, past life work, and things like that. Are you certified past life regression? Do you do past life stuff?
Yeah. So I did QHHT. I did the level 1 program. The website was wonky, and it has deleted my stuff twice now, to where like you got to submit your stuff to get your like little certification paper. I started kind of boycotting it because the past couple times I've done it, it has deleted it. And so like now I'm just mad. So I have all of the.
I'd print it out and put it in an envelope and send it to him.
Oh yeah, I never thought about mailing it. I've just kind of boycotted it now because I'm like, I'm so mad that it keeps doing this to me.
You need to get it because.
Yeah. So I did the QHHT, and I've done other little kind of programs here and there, but the one people would know the name of is the QHHT.
Right. I did QHHT, and then I did the BQH, Beyond Quantum Healing, with Candace, and I did that just so I could do QHHT basically virtually. A slap on the hand. Yeah. So that's what we do. So what do you find? How do you find you can? I find I can incorporate that background, that training, into all the things not even related to past life. I feel like I can really play with that. What do you find? How do you find you can incorporate that into your practice, your general practice? And I don't even know what I'm asking. How do you incorporate the QHHT training into your practice? That's what I was looking for.
I don't know. A little. I do a little bit of everything. Because I don't know. I find people, that's one of the big things that people are so fascinated about. Because I mean, that I feel like that's one of the life's biggest questions, like what happens when we die? Like people want to know that. And so I believe, well, I did my master's thesis. So I got my master's from University of Sedona, a metaphysical school. I did my thesis on reincarnation. Because I'm so just kind of fascinated with it. And I like, I really did QHHT to help myself, honestly. But I like the way it's set up to where you take people back lifetimes and then you talk to their higher self. Yeah. And I like incorporating, or teaching people that a lot of stuff that we're still working on in this life, or maybe if you have friction with a certain person, it could be residual stuff from a past life. I mentioned my bio dad. Like I know that there is a past life connection there, and that is why we are just friction in this life. And but I also believe in karma, and I also believe that we have the right, like it's up to us to change or to shift things. And he is just, I'm going to say, he's just not in a incarnation in this lifetime to try to shift those things. So it's just kind of learning about all of those things. And I like talking to probably my favorite part is at the very end, talking to the higher self. And it's like, what are they needing to know for, like, to help them in this lifetime? Because that's what we're here for. We're here to help them. We're here. It's awesome to learn about our past lives. It's so cool to talk about, like, like who we were connecting to in other lives and what we were and stuff, but we're really doing them to help them heal or connect to whatever it is in this life that they're working on.
Yeah, that root cause of what's happening,
Mhm.
what's up. Yeah, I have found that even more like anymore, I look at mediumship as like, oh, it's just like this much of the
Mhm.
puzzle. When you look at the past life, the energy, the cycles, is like you got the tip of the iceberg.
Yep.
And then if you want real healing, it's like the mediumship and psychic readings might open the door.
Yeah.
It's going to open the hatch.
Mhm.
And then once you go down, you're like, oh, I'm just going to go down this little manhole right now. You realize, oh, it's an abyss.
It is.
It's
It is.
endless. It's endless.
It's a wormhole. I like to think of it as a wormhole, and like it's like crystals and tarot and Reiki are like your like
It's your
party favors to get someone interested. It's
yeah,
like your first little kind of step in. And then they hear about mediumship and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'll get a reading. Let's see what happens here." And they dive a little bit more in, and then the next thing you know, giant wormhole, and like you're sucked in and like
right,
point of
right.
no return.
Exactly. Well, and I find now that I've done so much work with QHHT, and even I had a colleague who was also QHHT that would put me under, and we would do all these experiments and talking to Dolores Cannon and talking to, and pulling through the higher self.
Mhm.
I found that like when I do healing work, I know we do a lot of healing work, and I've taken a lot of classes where you bring in a spirit or there's something. I do my healing work through my higher self. Like it's my
Mhm.
higher self that actually, and I feel like the higher self is an even bigger, more evolved soul than any of the spirit guides
Mhm. Absolutely.
in the realm that they are. So I'm like, oh, well, y'all can just relax for a minute. I'm just gonna tap in up here and work that way. And I found that QHHT has really it's helped me learn how to do things that I never, ever, ever imagined I could do.
Mhm.
I
Well, I like it because my favorite part of it is like, someone can get a reading from me and I can tell them all the things, but sometimes there's always that little doubt in their mind because I'm the one saying it.
of course.
QHHT, they're doing all the work. I'm just guiding him, and you're the one that said it. You're the one that experienced it. I'm just the facilitator here.
Mhm.
That's my favorite part about it because they're hearing it through their own mouth.
Right.
It's not me telling them what to do or making the connections. They're the ones figuring it out.
Yeah. When you do them, because you're a medium, do you remote view with them?
Hmm.
Me too.
Yeah.
With their permission, of course. And I always say, like, just so you know, I can turn that off. I can put the barrier up, but I find that I love remote viewing other people's experiences. So I can also help navigate them. I won't ever tell them what they're seeing. I'll be like, okay, so let's go find a mirror and see what you look
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. The
like.
first couple of times I did it, I was doing it accidentally, and I was like, "Oh man, I should really ask them if they're okay with me saying that." And then I started asking them like, "Do you mind?" This sounds kind of creepy, but do you mind if I watch along? Like, do you care? Like, I can block that now, and I can just be the facilitator. But do you care if I watch? Like, I love that Dolores Cannon called it time traveling because that's what you're doing. You're time traveling. Yeah, it's so cool.
If yeah, I actually on TikTok I've made videos like that. I'm like, do you want to time travel? Have you ever wanted to time travel? You
Yeah.
can experience, and people that come out, they're like, that was the most real thing. Like I was there.
Hmm.
I'm like, you were actually like that. Your actual spirit and soul is experiencing that. Now, what do you think? Let me ask you this: do you feel like the past life is a past life, or it's simultaneous?
Mm. That's kind of tricky. But it's a little bit of both. I mean, it's historically past, but I think everything is just still kind of like linear, like different layers, linear, and so it's all kind of simultaneously happening at once.
Yeah,
Um,
that's how my guides have shown me, or my higher self has shown me actually, that well, we got all these lifetimes happening all at once. So like I could even tap into a future version of myself. And that future version could actually still be affecting me right now. Because it's all connected to the same source. So,
Yep.
You know, I don't know. I'm fascinated by all of it. And going back to your initial question, or what, not initial, but the question I asked you about, what do you ask your people? It's energy. How does that even work? And I'm so anxious, but not in a hurry to eventually see how it all works. Because I know that we're not supposed to know.
No. That would defeat the purpose of having human lives, I think. If we just come in knowing it all, it would be like, why are we here? Like,
right. Well, and that's my other thing. See, people are like, oh, I think it's all going to be revealed. We're going to go into 5D ascension. I'm like, back up, buddy. If we blow the lid off this thing, it's no longer a classroom. If we just lift the veil and everything is exposed and we all know everything, then we no longer are learning on this planet and it becomes useless for what it is now. And so I have to, even though I see war and I see hunger and I see all these negative things happening, I'm like, there has to be a reason for this. I don't have to like it. I don't have to think it's okay. I'm not going to be, oh, but I'm living in the flow and everything's just happening for a reason. There it is. I can still get angry about it. I think my test is, what am I going to do about it?
Yep. How you're going to react.
How are we going to react? It's not what's happening. It's how we respond to it. So I don't necessarily buy into the belief that with this age of Aquarius and 5D ascension, that it's all going to lift and be revealed. That's to me.
I think people are going to become more aware.
Oh, they already have.
Yeah, people are becoming more aware. People are becoming more open. And I mean, I see it every single day. People who like have been against everything that I am my entire life are suddenly contacting me from like high school, and they're like, hey, so I had this weird thing happen, or I started having these really crazy dreams about this thing. I think I need to talk to you. And I'm like, yes, come tell me about all your weird stuff. Like, let's go, let's talk.
Weird things. I know. Yeah. I try to be that person too, that people know that they can come talk to me about the weird stuff.
Yeah. That's been my whole thing about, I've never been anything other than who I am. Like I have lived my life. I'm a very quiet person, but I've lived my life loudly. I've lived my life kind of out in the open. I've tried to experience everything that I possibly could and share that. Like I love social media because I get to share like my trips in Egypt and my experiences. And then I have people contacting me and they're like, man, I've always had this weird connection to Egypt. Can I talk to you about it? And I'm like, absolutely. Like that's the whole reason I put it out there. Or like people see my photos of going over there and they're like, I always wanted to go, but I don't think I'll ever be able to. Like, can we talk about your experience? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. Like these things are meant to be shared. These things are meant to be accessed. Like I am open to talking about literally all the woo-woo stuff whenever.
I think that I do want to actually talk about your trip to Egypt. I've never, ever felt the need to go there. Like really? I've always been fascinated with the pyramids. I'm like, oh, aliens did that 1000%. Like I've always known that.
Yeah.
And okay, what's funny? This is another weird, funny thing that I forgot about. When my kids were little, which by the way, shout out to my son whose birthday's today. He's not watching, but just in case. When my kids were little, instead of the news, we would have Ancient Aliens on.
Oh yeah.
On in the morning when they were eating their cereal or whatever. That's what my kids were watching, was Ancient Aliens. And not cartoons, not the news, because that stuff's toxic.
Yeah. I grew up watching Ancient Aliens and National Geographic, like anything National Geographic, and that's probably why I love to travel so much. Like I want to go see, but now I want to go see and like go to the spiritual places. I want to see what I feel there. I want to see like
And see, I could see
has
myself
energy.
going there eventually, but it's so funny because like Reverend Normandy, that is part of camp. I know she's got degrees coming out of her ears, and she's like she's understands and like vibes. And when I think of Egypt and spiritual people, immediate, and I've only met her one time, but I'm drawn to, I'm just fascinated by it. And I love that you went. Like, what do you feel? One, what do you feel like drew you there? And then once you got there, what do you feel like your overall experience? Like, what was your big takeaway from Egypt?
Yeah. I'm one of those people that's always been drawn since I was little. My favorite movie is The Mummy. I watched The Mummy on repeat, like obsessed with it. VHS Mummy as well. And so 15 years old, my 15-year-old birthday, the Maxon was open, and I got to meet Normandy and Sharon and Patricia Kennedy, and meeting Normandy really shifted my life. And because she had her Egyptian stuff on, and I remember telling her, like, I love Egypt, and I kept telling her, you know, everyone always sees Isis and talks about Isis, and I'm a priestess of Isis, so like I get it. But I said, I keep seeing pictures that like people say is Isis, but I keep hearing no, her sister. No, her sister. Can you tell me about that? And she's like, she has a twin sister named Nephthys, and she's like the hidden kind of background, like shadow, dream time, all of that. And she's like, she's the, like, if you think of Isis as like the sun, she's the moon. And I'm like, her, I want to learn about her. Can you tell me more about her? And so I started studying Egyptian stuff with Normandy at a very young age. And then finally got through college, saved up some money, and I went. My first trip to Egypt was in 2018. And it was one of the most phenomenal experiences I've ever had in my life. We were there for I was there for 2 weeks, and I extended my trip and went to Greece and then Scotland and Ireland. So I just did this whole big kind of spiritual trip. Yeah. But when
Scotland.
I love Scotland. I can trace my father's family back 26 generations in Scotland. And so I was like, that's one of the places I have to go.
Yeah.
But I stepped off the plane in Egypt, and literally the man at the door, as I stepped off, he said, "Welcome home." And I started crying, and I was like I could just feel it. Like I felt like I belonged there, and I was like, I don't know if this is like past life stuff or I'm supposed to be here now, but like, I mean, that whole trip was just emotional. Every place I went into, it was just a whole different experience. When you go to Philae, which is the temple of Isis, we travel there. We travel there by boat. We get up at like 4 a.m. It's really dark. And Normandy had me take oil, and she had me anoint everyone to go into the temple. And we're traveling, and I did all that like when we're on the bus, and then we got on the boat and we're traveling around, and then we come to the front of it, and she's all lit up, like the temple's all lit up by these lights. And I just hysterically started bawling in the boat, and I'm just like, like it was the most like physical reaction I had had to a place. And my friend Aset, who is another priestess of Isis, she's rubbing my back, and she's like, I know, it's okay. Like, it's okay. And I was just like hysterical. And like the Egyptian people like didn't think a thing about me. I got off the boat and I was like, can I leave my shoes here? I said, I'm not supposed to wear shoes here. Like, I need to. And he was like, yeah, go ahead. And I stepped off the boat and I started walking. And again, I don't know if it was a past life. I don't know if it was like one of my spirits having a life in real time in another realm, but I'm walking, and we're walking in like this silent procession in the middle of the night. And I see all these young girls running by me in these white linens, and they have white linen wrapped around, and they're kind of giggling, and they're holding like linen, and they're running into the temple. And I'm just like seeing all this stuff around me, and Aset has my arm, and she's like guiding me in, because I'm like trying to walk and like experience all this at the same time.
Right.
And we walk in there, and we go back into the very back room, the Holy of Holies. And I literally heard a woman's voice in my head saying, "Welcome home, daughter." And I'm just like, silent tears are just streaming down my face. And I'm just like, I'm just an emotional wreck. And I was like, okay, like I got to learn about this. And I kept having experiences like that throughout my whole trip. And on the very last day, I said something about, I said, I wonder if there is a way to become a priestess in like the world we live in today, like understanding like Egyptian stuff. Because I had asked Normandy and she's like, I've always wanted to, like, because she is an ordained high priestess of Isis. And she's like, I've studied with her personally, but she didn't have her own program set up. And my friend Osset said, well, funny enough, I have my own priestess program. And I said, sign me up. Like, how do I join? Like, what is it? And it was the next year Normandy started her own. And so I started doing both programs at once. I was just like absorbing as much information as possible. And it's what really helped my own personal practice. I created a personal kind of spirituality practice. And it was really because of my priestess training. But Egypt was like a huge fundamental like experience. And I had some when I went to like Greece and Scotland and Ireland. I had those, but they almost felt like so soft in comparison, because it wasn't like a freaking slam in my face. Like, what is happening?
Right.
Yeah.
You needed the decompression probably afterwards.
I needed some gentle, loving guidance from spirit after that, because I was a wreck.
Yeah. Wow. What an amazing experience though. My best friend, Carrie, she's also a priestess, but I think she's a Magdalene Rose priestess.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And medium and all that. And and we have been shown, both of us, our connection, that we were both priestesses in other lifetimes together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I didn't think am I that cool that I could be a priestess? I don't know. So I'm interested to see. I'm fascinated because I'm drawn to all these things, but also like the life that I live keeps me kind of anchored in this lifetime. Does that make sense? Like, I know that I came into this life to learn certain things, and while I'm drawn and pulled to go do certain things, I know that I'm not going to. At least not right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm supposed to be doing something here right now. And I'm like, listen, y'all kind of really bringing me down here.
Yeah. I get the not right now thing a lot. I get drawn to things and I'll ask spirit. A lot of times I'll be like, do I get to do that? And they'll say not right now.
I get like, not right now a lot. And then, but they do tell me that, you time travel, you just go there. Just go there. I'm like, it's not the same. It's not the same. They're like, it can be. You just need to let yourself.
Yeah.
So
I always tell them I want to experience it in this lifetime, please. I understand what I can do. I understand, but I want to do it now, like here in this life as me.
I want it now. Right. So I love. I know when I went to Scotland, there've been 2 times. No, that's not true. 3 places that I've been where when I land and I get there, I cry. I'm not a crier. When I say I cry, people are like, you did what?
Yeah. What?
And it's funny because I'll tell people it's not that I don't cry because I'm cold. It's because if I do, I get a sinus infection. So I've learned just to bury all the emotions. Otherwise, it's nasty and it's no fun. And so when I go to New York, because that lifetime, I know that lifetime was so impactful on my soul. When I got to New York, I sobbed. I still fly over New York every time I cry. Not even landing in New York. If I fly over New York,
wow,
it's such a draw. France, same thing. Like I walk around Paris like I own the place. I don't speak French outside of ballet. And Scotland. I cried all through Scotland.
Yeah.
And it was such an incredible, overwhelming experience. And I never thought that was a thing. That I was like, how weird that people go places like that and just cry. That's so weird to me. No, I'm like,
I do it too.
I do it. But I thought for sure, because I've traced our ancestors in Ireland back to the mid 1700s is the earliest we have found records for. I haven't intentionally looked further than that, but
Mhm.
I thought for sure when I went to Ireland that I would feel
Mm.
the same way I did with Scotland.
Different.
It was a whole different thing. I'm like, okay, I feel the connection here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was not the same because and I think spirit did that on purpose. I think
Mhm.
spirit needed me to see, no, yes, you have lineage here, but your soul is not connected here.
Yeah. There's a difference.
That in Scotland it was. I thought for sure it was just because I really liked the TV show Outlander. They're like, no, you liked Outlander because you knew.
Because of that, yeah.
Like,
Love Outlander. Yep.
ooh, I know. I have not seen the final episode. I'm waiting to watch with my friends. And also, this is my Outlander crown. Look at that.
Ooh.
Standing stones.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I have not seen the final episode. I have to emotionally, mentally, spiritually prepare myself
Absolutely.
for it.
Yeah.
My husband's even learned. He'll go, "Are you emotionally prepared yet?" Like, no.
Not yet. No.
But I did meet Sam Hewen.
Did you?
I did. I have a picture with him. And Murtaugh. I met him too.
They cast that show so well. Like,
Yeah, they did.
like I saw something the other day and it was like this person almost got cast. I'm like, that would have been totally different. Like he is, yeah, it's
Not the
perfect.
same. Yeah.
Perfection.
All right. So let's get back to our thing here. So let's talk about the priestess journey for you.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by this because it's not a road that I have traveled other than just knowing my bestie Carrie. Do you, first of all, what drew you to become a priestess? And in what order did you do this? Like, I feel like I should ask that. So you went to Egypt and you were already a priestess?
No, I went to Egypt. I didn't know it was possible to become a priestess in this lifetime until literally the very last day in Egypt.
Okay, you said that. I wasn't registering.
Yeah. Well, because I kept having all of these experiences that I attribute to either past lives or, parallel lives or whatever, in these places. And I kept seeing myself as a priestess. Like it literally in one of the lifetimes, I was like seeing through her eyes and I was like I was looking at the hieroglyphs on the wall and literally Normandy's right beside me and they were asking her to translate something. And she's like, Lexy's reading the wall, ask her. And I was like, and I got freaked out because again, I'm in a group of people and I'm like, no, it's okay. But I was like watching the walls and I was like, oh my God, like, I feel like I know what they're saying. Like, I know what's going on here. And so I wanted to continue to kind of study that. And literally the last day I said, I wish there was a priestess program, that I could do because to become a priestess in the Egyptian tradition, you learned about how to do mediumship, you learned how to interpret dreams, you learned about herbs, you learned about like all of the things I'm interested in. It just had this kind of Egyptian spin on it. And then the last day, my friend Aset said, I have a program that you do. Like it's at that time, it was very solitary. So I created my own personal practice. She had me doing stuff, woke up every morning. I did stuff every afternoon. I did stuff every evening. I did stuff. And it made me create spiritual habits that like I've incorporated so many other things into, but like, I was really drawn to it because a lot of the stuff still felt very close to my Native American heritage that I grew up learning or doing about. It was just like the Egyptians were just so good at documenting everything. So we had all of these things to like do and study and research. And it was like, oh, it felt like a way for me to honor kind of my heritage in just like a different way. And so I've kind of blended it all. But I started Osset's program in 2018, and Normandy's program a year later. And Normandy's program had you take hers was like almost like a metaphysical Egyptian kind of mystery school. It was a little more group oriented, but we did all the ancient festivals, but a lot of the classes were still like the classes at camp, the metaphysical classes, like full moons and those things. And so I finished them actually both at the same time in 2020, and I became ordained as an Egyptian priestess in 2020. and because I was supposed to go back in 2020 in March, me and Brandon were supposed to go together, and Normandy was going to marry us over there. Because she did our personal wedding here, but we were going to do a spiritual ceremony over there. And literally the day the world shut down, I was supposed to be on a plane to Egypt because of COVID. And yeah, so we didn't get to go. But it was in 2023, I was pregnant with Luna. She asked me to go back. Her and Osset were leading them together, and they asked me to go and be kind of like one of their helpers. And so I went over at 6 months pregnant. I'm helping, lead stuff, and she did my in-person ordination in the Temple of Isis. And so it was a very full circle kind of moment for me. But it's just something I knew that was supposed to be part of my life. And I'm now, I have just received permission to start my own Priestess program, Egyptian Mystery School. Through the kind of the head school is called Fellowship of Isis. And so it's almost like if you start your own program, I'm like an arm of them. Mm-hmm. And so I create my own, it's really an Egyptian mystery school. But I started having people ask me, when are you going to start, teaching this stuff? When are you going to start? And I would do like little classes here and there, but I started having dreams about it. And I kept hearing per Ankh Ray. And I woke up thinking, House of Living Light. That's what it's supposed to be called. And it's called an Iseum, which just means House of Isis. But I just got permission to start my own Iseum. So per Ankh Ray, or House of Living Light. I'm hoping to get it up and running by August, because in the kind of Egyptian calendar, Zep Tepi is at the end of July, which is kind of almost like a new year, because it's annual flooding of the Nile stuff kind of starts again. And so I'm hoping to have it done by then, but we'll see how it goes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm over here like, I can do trance channeling.
Trance is a big thing too. I love trance. That's the most fundamental thing for me on how to, I feel like, learn about your guides. Because you get to feel them, you get to, experience them. I think it's a very important part. And I had to do that through my Priestess program as well, to get to know the Egyptian energies. So.
Yeah, that's amazing. Meanwhile, the people coming through me are all very, like the Dolores Cannon. Mm-hmm. Her, like, I didn't mean to, I just did. And then Edgar Casey. Mm-hmm. At camp in a seance there came through me. That was wild.
I bet.
But I look at it as, it's so wild to look at the depth of what you're doing, mm-hmm. and just the vast knowledge that you yourself hold, where here I am over here going, well, I got where's that list I had today? There's anything. So I think that's so amazing that you've been called to do this. And I don't mean this in a negative way. You're so young. You're my daughter's age. Like, so to me, you're very young. You probably feel like the oldest soul on the planet someday. And I get that. I remember at 28, I thought, oh my God, I've lived 10 lives already. Mm-hmm. Life experience. But so now, oh my gosh, with this school, that's crazy. Now, so will you do that virtually? Will you do it in person? Like, obviously virtually, but
yeah, the main thing is going to be virtual. I'm going to have it's going to be kind of like an online school, but I'm hoping to have kind of like, the pagan holidays that like I grew up honoring. I'm going to hopefully honor those kind of live online, or I have a lot of land here. I have my family has a huge farm, but here at my house, I have 65 acres. And so I'm hoping we got married. I built a big circle in the woods, and that's where we got married. So I'm hoping to have things in person here at some point. But right now, with Luna, it's just easier to do it online, and people are constantly asking me to start learning this. And so the easiest thing for me is to do it online. I'm going to have it to where you can, you can sign up to go through the program, but a lot of the holidays I'm hoping to just do live kind of like this so everyone can just participate and it can just be like a community thing.
So I've got a question then.
Yeah.
That's how my brain is. You've got this depth of like all of this, like with the Egyptian and the priestess and all this. And then you've got, oh, and I'm a reverend in a spirituals community. Like, what made you go, oh, that makes sense? Is that just because you were so drawn to Camp Chesterfield, you wanted to do this, or was it because?
Well, I've taken all of the reverendship like all of the reverendship kind of classes through camp, but I didn't become ordained through camp. I became ordained through a metaphysical church. I
did not realize that. For some reason, I thought you were ordained through them.
Nope. I did all the classes because I was like, you know what? I still obviously want to learn everything that like becomes included in camp, but there was certain things that I found missing in camp's program that I said, until those are incorporated, I'm not becoming ordained through here. And they basically said, this is the way it's always been. We're not changing it. And I said, okay, then like, I'm going to find a program that fits me. And so, I feel like you can't really put a label on me. I'm 100 different things, but in a nutshell, I am a metaphysician because that encompasses all of the things that I do. And so I found a metaphysical school to become ordained through. I did their program. I took the test. I did the things, and it was important for me to become ordained. I never thought I would, honestly, for the longest time. And then I kept getting that calling, like, this is something you're supposed to do. And I thought it was going to be through camp. And I was like, not until it changes. And I heard you need to find a different path because you're supposed to do this. Okay. And so I started looking for different areas. And to me, a minister is not just someone who does sermons. That can be one huge part of it. But a minister is a person you go to in some of the best and worst moments of your life.
Right.
And again, talking about being that open person for people, it was like giving a title to me being a person that you could come to with anything, with whatever, if you having a spiritual problem, if you are having, like, you just need to sit and talk to someone about whatever it is. Like, I am an open person to talk about whatever. If you want me to create a ceremony, a ritual for, whatever it is that you're having, again, best and worst moments of your life, I am a person that can do that for you. Like, that was the way, like, Spirit laid it out for me. Because it was like, you're doing all these things anyway, but they basically told me, we need you to step up and do this. We need you to, like, this is part of who you're supposed to be. And I said, okay. And yeah, okay. And I made, because camp has been such an integral part of my life. Like I said, if camp's program ever changes, I can set down this one and I will finish that program and I can be ordained through camp, but it's not needed for me.
Right. Okay. I mean, that makes sense too. And I think what we have learned on this journey, at least I know I have, is that when your guides or when your team or when Spirit tells you, don't go over there, stay over here, that you honor it. Because if you don't, then they're like, oh, fine. You want to learn the hard way? Fine. So we just learn to follow the path that we're put on, even if it feels uncomfortable or doesn't feel like in our logical mind, that's what we're supposed to do, is what I've learned. So, because I'm even now, I know I'm personally in a place where I'm like, why am I here?
Yeah.
And they're like, because we told you to just be patient. And what I've learned is there's a bigger picture.
There's a bigger picture. Yeah. A lot of times, yeah. They'll say, you may not see it now, but you will. And I'll realize a little while down, I'm like, oh, yeah, I totally see what you were doing there. Like, sorry, Spirit, like, I should have listened. Like,
and I have found that that's part of that transition, I believe, from going, it's a transition from going from I believe to I know. And once you know, then all of a sudden, and you trust your spirit team, even if it doesn't make sense, you just go with it and know that it's all going to work out fine. And that no matter what, you're going to learn a lesson. Even when you make a wrong turn and the GPS has to recalibrate you, you're still going to see something new on the way.
There was a reason you went that way. Yep.
Yeah. And you just kind of learn to go with it. And I love that even at your age, again, not in a condescending way, because at 30, at your age, I was like, I had a 2-year-old and a newborn. You know,
I've been the youngest person. I've been the youngest member of Camp Chesterfield since I was 18. So, I've gotten it all this time.
Up with it. So you have a very rich soul, and I so appreciate that about you, because to me, age is just a number. Period. But I look at everything that you've done and you've accomplished at this point in your life, and I cannot wait to be like a stalker in your outer band. What's next? What can I offer this, you know, and you know, at this point, I think what you're doing is amazing. And I'm just so excited to see your journey and where you take all of this. And how you're going to be, my prediction is that you're going to be a go-to person. People are going to look to you for guidance. And I'm honored that I can go, yeah, oh yeah, she was on my show once. She wore that cute hat, whatever. But now what I feel like, and this is my intuition, I feel like what you're doing with Soul and Spirit, with your podcast, is that you're right. It is time for you to market yourself differently. It's time for you to brand yourself and start doing the things that you have to do in the mundane world to bring the magic to the people. Right. I feel like you're doing that with Soul and Spirit. So how did you get that? How did that come in? Did your guy just be like, guess what you're doing? Or
basically, for like seriously, like 4 or 5 years now, I started getting, you know, COVID happened and podcast really hit. And I've always been a visual learner, a listener. Like I always listen to audiobooks I love music, but as soon as I hear music, I picture dance routines. Like that's just the way my brain works. And so, yeah, I get it. And so I was like, if I need to like sit still and not be like trying to create a routine right now, like I got to listen to books or podcasts. I love, I hate wasting time. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, is like feeling like I'm wasting time. And so something that's going to teach me something is like huge. And I've done a lot of my life. I've learned a lot of things. I've seen a lot of things. And someone said, like, you should start putting your stories and your knowledge out there. And I'm like, how would I even, like, what would I do? How would I even do that? And I've always gotten messages about writing and making books and all of the things. And I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah. But like, that's also a lot too. So I started getting messages about starting a podcast. I kept hearing from Spirit, and my sweet husband literally like encourages me in literally everything. And 2 years ago, he got me all the equipment for my birthday. He got me the mic. He got me the amps and all the things. And he was like, here you go, do it. You can't say you don't have the stuff now to do it. Do it. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, props to Brandon. But then we had Luna, and it got put on the back burner again, because I was like, how the heck am I supposed to start this with a newborn? And then you know, I was teaching a lot and doing all of the things, and some stuff has happened, and I heard from kind of one of my main guides, and he was like, okay, we need to sit down. This is not good for you any longer. This is not good. This is not safe. This is not healthy. This needs taken away for now, not forever, but you need to set it aside. And I said, okay. I said, but you know, that's been my identity for so long. What do I do without it? And it was Brandon who said, Spirit's kicking you out of the nest to see if baby bird's going to fly or not. And yeah, and I heard Spirit say, and I said, well, what do I do with my time then? How do I serve? That was my question. How do I serve? And they said, now's the time to start that podcast you were talking about. It takes a lot of time, but then again, it doesn't. They said, start off just talking about the things talking, like just teaching the people in small little increments. And I'm not here to try to change anyone's mind. It's just from my perspective. And here is something I've learned. Why don't you see if it incorporates into your life, or see if you want to look at it a little bit more? And that's really what my podcast is here to do. It also, I have ADD as well, and I stopped taking my medication when I found out I was pregnant with Luna. So I'm kind of all over the place, and there's a lot of things I want to learn and I want to study too. And I just keep telling myself I don't have the time. But the having the podcast, I feel like it keeps me honest, and it's like I can do an episode on that, and I can devote like 15 minutes of, like, I can study it, and then I can devote 15 minutes of talking about it, and like I feel like I've accomplished something for myself too. So it's really kind of the best of both worlds, and I'm really enjoying it. And I've had so many people just like I've been so supported, and the people that are just reaching out just to say, like, thank you so much for talking about these things. And I'm like, oh my God, like again, I'm like, thank you.
I know, that's amazing. And I just like being that fangirl on the outside, watching baby bird fly out of a nest,
Yeah.
and because that's ultimately, as a mom, that's what I want to see other people do, whether as a mentor, as a mom, I want to see people find themselves outside of
Yeah.
nest. That's what we are built that way. That's what we're supposed to do. So what would you say is, you're not going to be able to answer this directly. You're going to be like, what? But what would you say is your favorite episode that you've done so far for your podcast?
Oh gosh. I don't know. I really, honestly, one of my first couple ones where I just talk about, I really broke down what spirit was to me and what the soul was to me. I wanted those to be kind of the very first ones because of, I named my LLC Soul and Spirit. I wanted my podcast, I was like, there's nothing else I can call it but Soul and Spirit as well. Everything's just going under that name. Because I asked, it started off because I hand make things. I paint my hats and stuff. And it started out as Soul Creations. And when Luna was born, I decided to kind of do this whole rebranding. And I asked Spirit, I said, what should it be called? And I heard them say, you work with souls and spirits. And I was like, oh my God, okay. But really breaking down those things, because not too many people think about the soul and this, like, they don't really think about soul and spirit, or they don't think about what it includes, or that they're different things. Spirit and soul are very different things to me, and those were probably my favorite. I'm having a blast doing the interviews as well. I try to do one a month, and just learning about people's stories and how they came into their spirituality. That's one of my all-time favorite things as well, on like what brought you to who you are now, and who do you think you're going to be later.
I love all of this stuff. I just love all of this, and I love connecting to other people who think at such a deep level and are willing to put in the work and willing to evolve and grow. That to me is huge. One day you might be saying, okay, I'm going to be the creative person. And then the next day you're like, nope, soul and spirit it is. That you're willing to grow. And I think that just speaks to your character, and what you will be as a mentor to others. And so kudos to you for being open to that evolution and that willingness to grow. I mean, can you imagine where you're going to be in 30 years from now? Like,
there's so much. I mean, every time, I said this to someone the other day, like every time I think I've peaked, I'm like, okay, this is it. This is who I'm supposed to be. Spirit says, nah, like look over there at that freaking mountain. What are you doing? Like, we got a long way to go, girlfriend. And I'm like, oh gosh, okay, here we go.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, this is a funny analogy. I don't even know if it really, and have you ever watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail in the Holy Grail?
It's been a while, but yeah.
Okay, this keeps coming up as a reference, and I'm really curious as to why. But like, there's a scene where the guy looks like he's running and running and running, and then the guard is just standing there, and then he's running, and you see the guy running. It's like taking forever, and these guys just then close up with the guard, not paying attention, and like it just keeps showing all, like, I don't know, 6 versions of this clip where the guy's running across the field, taking it forever, and all of a sudden it's like bam, right there.
Mm-hmm.
And like, and so that to me is what it feels like. Or when you're driving in Denver, Colorado, and you're like, oh, the mountains are just right there. Same with Arizona. Oh, they're just right there, but they're like literally like 100 miles away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you start going there, and it takes forever, and it feels like forever. And then you get there, and you're like, oh, and I'm here. And I feel like that will be your journey.
Mm-hmm.
That will be your journey. And I highly suspect you will not waste a single minute, but you have permission from the mama in the room that on the days that you need to just sit on the couch and do nothing, that's not being lazy. It's not being counterproductive. It's you resetting your body, resetting mind, body, and spirit, and then you become the better conduit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm learning that. That's been one of the biggest things that Luna has taught me so far. Besides patience, God give me patience, is that like, it's okay to take time to do stuff, to have time. And like, I stay at home with her, and I'm so grateful. I do like accounting stuff for my family from home, and then I can work on my small business stuff. But I'm so grateful that like my family even said that, no, you need to be with her. Her first, like her big formative years, you need to stay home and like be with her. And so we work on her stuff, we play together, but some days every morning she wants me just to hold her. And I'm like this morning, like I'm wanting to get up and get ready for this. And like, I'm like, oh, I want to, curl my hair or whatever. I haven't done my hair in forever. I want to do that. And she's like, no, mama, hold it. And I'm like, okay, I just need to sit and hold it. And like, it, like there's time. I'm learning that there's time for everything. I just need to be okay, because I'm a person that wants to do it all. I'm a person that, like I said, I hate wasting time, but I'm realizing like this isn't wasting time. And like
I'm telling you right now, it's because you were raised by a Gen X mom.
Yeah.
Because every minute has to be productive. I watch my husband. I'm like, dude, sit down. If there's a commercial on, he's up moving, because you can't just sit and be in commercial. I'm like, but what if you need that thing that they're selling you?
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to sit and reset. That was a hard lesson for me to learn as a Gen Xer, by the way, being raised by a boomer who was like, you have to keep going, You're wasting time. Every minute is valuable. But I also feel like our soul, when we do this work, our souls are called to keep going, because the amount of things we can learn is infinite.
Mm-hmm.
And we do feel like we have to keep going. But man, what a blessing it is that you get to have that time with that kiddo, where I know I look back as a mom now and go, I wish I'd spent more time.
Yeah. Sitting
and holding my kids, but I couldn't. Like, I had to keep going. If we were going to keep the roof over our head, like I had to go to the job. I had to go to the things. And so I'm excited to see where you go. Your trajectory looks amazing. And just know that when you rest, it's okay, because you're just getting ready for that next fabulous thing. Even if that next fabulous thing is the legacy that is known as Luna.
Right. I'm working on it. That's been a huge lesson for me. But I just tell myself, I can, if I'm resting, I can be sitting and plotting, whatever it is. Like I can just sit and plot, or, I can snuggle her and, think about my next steps or whatever it is. And sometimes I can just sit and mindlessly stare into the abyss. Like it's fine. I need that too.
Right. What I find is if I don't take enough of those, then I end up sick anyway. So
Yep.
So you don't take those time. So Lexy, thank you so much for coming on. And again, this was so last minute. And I was like, hey, what come on a Thursday?
Mm-hmm. The best thing about being a stay-at-home mom and working from home is that luckily if I can find someone to watch Luna for that amount of time, I can do things like this. So it works out.
Well, even if she'd have come in and been climbing on your head, we've been like, what's up, Luna? How's it going?
Oh, she'd be in here going, hi guys. That's what she does when I'm on Zoom calls. Hi, guys.
I kind of love that though.
Yeah.
As a dance teacher, and those little kids, that 3 to 4 year old range, they think I'm the coolest thing ever, ever. And you know what? You go with it. At my age, when someone thinks you're cool, you go with it. You take that in. So,
oh yeah, everybody's her friend. So,
yeah, I love that. So, anyway, thank you so much for coming on. I look forward to even potentially having you come on again when you get that school going. Girl, you're coming on. We're going to talk about it. We're going to get people enrolled in your school. We're going to be pushing you, write that book, do the things. I'm here. And again, outer band supporter over here.
I appreciate it, and I'm happy to finally get to actually sit down and talk to you, because we see ourselves in passing, or we see each other in passing and talk for a second, but we don't ever just get to sit down and talk.
I know. So, well, thank you so much, and thank you all for coming on. We had a bunch of people come in on the TikTok and just listen in and comment, and
awesome,
all coming in. And just so you know, this will be on the YouTube for under live. You have to go to my channel. It's under lives, and you will be able to see that. We got watch the replay. I will put you sent me all of your information. I'm going to put that in the show notes. That will be on the YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. We'll have all of Lexy's information in there, and make sure you follow her Soul and Spirit.life on all the platforms, right? On all the platforms. So make sure you guys are following her, watching her journey. Sounds like she's got a lot going on. So I appreciate you coming on. And all right, we're going to do my big outro that it just cracks me up.
Okay.
Like, I think I'm hilarious. At least somebody's got to think I am. So, all right. Thank you everybody for watching. We'll see you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Your time in the realm of the crowned medium is cherished. Her Highness Lorenda Carr encourages you to like, subscribe, comment, and follow on all channels to stay updated on new episodes and offerings.